The movie begins by showing the main character of this story, Bob, who worked in a city mill. Here were his wife and a daughter whose name was Eva, but we know that he stayed away from both. Eva was growing up, because of which her distance from her mom was increasing. She doesn't pay attention to anything her mom says. That's why, being worried, her mom talks to Bob. After telling him everything, she starts saying that you are her dad. Try to make her understand something. But Bob doesn't talk to her directly. Instead, he says that, I don't have any kind of relationship with you people anymore. But it is obvious that Eva was his daughter. That's why, hearing himself, Bob also felt very bad. That's why, to clear his mind, he goes to a bar where he meets a dealer. The dealer starts telling Bob that my boss, Nelson, needs a very special man, and his stuff can be secretly moved from one place to another. Actually, he was asking Bob to do this job, and he also gives Nelson's number. But for now, the stuff that Bob had come to take, he only takes that. The next day, when he goes to work, he sees a broken machine there. When he was looking inside the machine, it suddenly started moving. But while checking it, he got lost in thought somewhere. That's when his partner called him. As soon as she called him, Bob stepped back, and he was saved from getting cut by that machine. He started feeling very strange. That's why he tells his boss that I need leave for a few days, to which his boss agrees. That's why Bob comes home, packs his stuff, and leaves with the car. When he was driving the car at night, he suddenly felt a weakness in his body, because of which he could not control his car. And his car crashed into a big pillar, which led to Bob's accident. He was not in any danger, but he was slightly injured. That's why he immediately calls Nelson and tells him that his car has had an accident. After which, he quickly goes to a nearby cafe. He goes to the washroom there and cleans his blood with his own hands. He started feeling pain in his stomach. He felt that he might have been injured there too. To check, he removes his shirt, but he saw that his body was disappearing and bones were starting to appear from his joints. After seeing this, Bob got a little scared, but comes out with his bandages, where Nelson also arrived after a while. He comes to him and says that my car is very bad and I don't have money to fix it. Hearing this, Nelson says, then it's fine. If you do the job of delivering my luggage, then I will also give you money with which you can get your car fixed. Now, Bob had no other choice. That's why he has to listen to Nelson, and Nelson brings him to his house. The next day, he goes to the jungle with Bob and shoots a bear with a gun and cuts the head of the same dead bear and puts it in a box. The next day, Nelson gives the same box to Bob. It actually had the parts of the same bear's body that Nelson wanted to sell in the black market so that he could earn a lot of money, because such wrong things happened in that black market. Anyway, Bob sees that his car has been fixed, so he goes to work for Nelson. It was quite late while traveling, so he goes to his wife's house. He found out that Eva was not at home. Upon asking, his wife begins to say that she will stay at her friend's house tonight because she used to do this before. The next day, Bob goes to deliver that box, and then Eva comes back home. She gets angry at her dad, asking, why did you come today after being missing for so many days? But because Bob was not feeling well, he does not give any answer. That's why Eva goes inside the house without noticing. Bob goes to that man and gives him his box. The man told him that you shouldn't work with Nelson. He is a very dangerous man. But because of his bad health, Bob does not pay much attention to what he says and just keeps on doing his work. That man also noticed that Bob's condition is not looking good. That's why he gives Bob a Chinese medicine with which Bob came home. Here, Eva asks about his worsening health, but Bob lies to her that there is nothing much. Then Eva starts asking about her grandfather's fatal disease, that is about Bob's dad's disease, but he does not answer any of her questions and just keeps going. After a while, Eva leaves the house to meet her friends, where she sees a Chinese shop on the way, and she goes inside. Actually, she was also sick like her father Bob, about which she did not want to reveal to the world. In the shop, a lady shows Eva a medicine. Along with that, she also told her that there is a doctor inside you can get checked up. But here, Eva did not want to meet any doctor, so she just takes a box of Chinese tea and leaves from there. Then her friends make a plan that there is a mental hospital that has been there for a long time, so let's go there. In a little while, they all reach there. Although the hospital was closed, they somehow get inside. This place looked quite scary to see because it was deserted. That's why people talk about ghosts and make fun of them. Eva says that there was a time when my grandfather was admitted here because he also had a deadly disease and he died before I was born. Eva wanted to find her grandfather's file and find out about his disease. On the way, they came to the basement where they see someone who is wrapped in white cloth. As soon as she saw these people, she suddenly disappears from there because she was scared of whatever it was. Everyone starts running here and there. One of Eva's friends is so scared that she suddenly holds Eva's hand. But then she saw something that surprised her, which made everyone very scared because Eva's arm was disappearing from the middle and her hand was looking as if it had separated. Seeing this, her friends got very scared. Her friends leave Eva and run away from there immediately. There, Bob and his wife were talking to each other. They were happy to remember Eva's childhood activities. The next morning, her mom checked her room and she found out that Eva had not come home since last night. Her mom and dad were worried about Eva. Both start looking for her everywhere, but she had disappeared. She was not found anywhere. When they checked the room, they found Eva's phone, from which they found out that she had gone to the mental hospital with her friends. So Bob and his wife go to Eva's friend's house to ask, but her dad said that she was not there. They both got very scared. After a while, Bob calls Nelson and says that it will take time to deliver your next parcel to the destination because my daughter is missing. That's why I'm looking for her. Then Bob saw Eva's other friends and he goes to ask them, but those boys do not answer directly, because of which Bob gets very angry and he starts beating them. Then one of them says that Eva had gone to the mental hospital with us, but we ran away from there. But Eva did not run away. And where is she now? We do not know anything about this. After hearing this, Bob understands that she must have gone to the hospital to find out about her grandfather's disease. Bob and his wife both go to the hospital, where the security guards stop them and do not let them go inside. Bob got angry seeing this, and that's why he attacks the guard, but he himself falls down in pain. Some people pick him up and bring him to the nearby hospital. Then a lady comes to him who recognizes Bob because she knew his dad very well. She tells Bob's wife that his condition is very bad. That's why Bob has to be kept in this hospital. Bob remembers that when his dad was getting his treatment in this hospital in his childhood, Bob used to sit outside his room. The doctors here did not let him go inside, and since then she knew Bob because his dad also did not want Bob to know about his disease. At that time, his condition had deteriorated a lot. Anyway, now that lady talks to Bob and shows his dad's room and says that if you want, you can stay here and get your treatment done. But Bob says, no, my daughter is missing. She will need me. I don't know where my daughter is and in what condition she will be. But the guards ignore him and force him into the room and lock him. At night, when Bob was suffering from his pain, he woke up. Then he saw that the door had opened by itself, and the keys to the main gate were also lying on the table in front of him. Seeing all this, it seemed as if someone wanted to help him. That's why he immediately left there and came to his wife's house. Here he found out that his wife was not at home, but she was at his neighbor's. That's when Nelson got a call. He threatens Bob and says that if my parcel does not reach its destination on time, then I will kill you and your family. Hearing this, he gets even more upset. That's when he found out that Eva's friends had returned home. That's why Bob immediately leaves to talk to them. Eva's friend tells him that I found out about it because I had seen Eva's arm, which had slowly disappeared from half of her body. She gives Bob Eva's bag. Upon checking, Bob finds Chinese tea in it. That's when Bob remembered that it was exactly the same medicine that the man had given him, to whom he had delivered Nelson's parcel. That's why he immediately went to that man and asked him about his missing daughter and his wife. In response, the man said that although I do wrong things, I am also a husband and a father, so I can never think of kidnapping anyone's daughter and wife. After saying this, the man tells Bob about his Chinese shop from where Eva had taken the tea. Now we are shown Eva, whom some people wanted to examine. That's why they were putting cuts on her body. They even start scratching her wounds, which makes her suffer from pain. After a while, Bob also reaches the same Chinese shop and asks the shop lady about his missing daughter. The shop lady gets scared to see him, but she does not tell him the truth. That's when Bob sees Eva's cycle standing on one side of the shop and takes off his hood. Now seeing more than half of his missing head, the lady faints. She understood that Eva is also just like her dad, Bob. That's why she points to the doctor's room in fear. With the gesture, Bob immediately understood and runs towards it. While going inside, he took off his shirt, and here we see for the first time that his body is disappearing from different places. He now goes to the basement where the doctors are. He attacks them, asking about his daughter and telling them to release her. That's when Eva, trapped in the cage, hears her dad's voice and starts calling out. Bob follows the voice and goes towards her. And when Eva sees her dad half missing, she is also very scared. But Bob calms her, opens the cage, and takes her out. Both come out of there, but Bob's condition had already worsened to a great extent. That's why Eva brings him home with support. Bob's wife sees that he is now disappearing quickly. That's why she starts taking care of Bob quickly, because she already knew about his disappearing disease. The next morning when Bob opened his eyes, he started talking to Eva. He starts telling her that I had gone away from both of you because of this disease so that both of you do not get any kind of pain because of me. Otherwise, I love you both very much. But now I understand that maybe this thing is in our blood, which you got because of me even though you didn't want to. Just like I got it from my dad. After some time, he started packing his stuff to leave from here. He said that I have become very weak inside. He even falls. He said that before this truth comes to the world, I go away from everyone before that. After hearing this, Eva also tells him to go with her, because after a few days this was going to happen to her too. This made Bob's wife very sad. Unwillingly, she has to send both of them. After which both the father and daughter sit in the car and leave from there. On the way, a lot of things happen between them. Bob says that I always treated you very harshly so that I could stay away from you because I didn't want to be a burden to you. Eva also says that, Dad, I have always felt your absence, and now I want to spend every moment with you, which we have lost. Anyway, now they both reach the place where they had to deliver Bob's next parcel. That's when Bob sees that his face was also disappearing. He didn't understand what to do. That's when Eva puts on the foundation and covers his face. And Bob goes and gives the parcel to that man, after which he brought him to his house. Eva makes Chinese tea, which they both drink. Bob tells her that you can live here in peace because the people here will not care about anyone's disappearance. Both father and daughter have a good time. They laugh and joke. On the other hand, when the man opened the parcel of Nelson, there was only a nail in it. When he told Nelson, he got very angry. Bob had also started disappearing more quickly. His face was almost gone. He hugs his daughter and says, My daughter, my last time has come. Then he says something and goes to a mill where he had now completely disappeared. That's it when Nelson enters Bob's house. He points a gun at Eva and asks about Bob. Then she says that they have sold me this house. But Nelson knew that this was not true at all because Bob's stuff was still lying here. That's why he thinks of punishing Eva for Bob's mistake. He was staring at her badly and doing strange things. That's when someone pushed him hard. Seeing this, Eva understood that this is my father who had completely disappeared, but still has come to help me. After which he beats Nelson so much that he kills him. Here Eva talks to her missing father who promises and says, Eva, my daughter, I will never leave you in the future. Even if I am invisible, that is even after my existence is gone, I can't see whatever the situation is. I will keep protecting you. Soon she picks up Nelson's body and throws it in the jungle, which is eaten by a bear. Now Eva buys a pair of spectacles from a shop and sits in the car and starts talking to Bob. She wanted them to be able to see each other with the help of the spectacles when they were completely missing. Bob tells her that when my dad went missing, he didn't want me to see him in such a condition that he was admitted to a mental hospital from where he had disappeared. I was admitted to the hospital next to him. There I found out that my dad is alive, while I and everyone else were just thinking that he was killed, but he just disappeared because he opened the door of the room for me and also kept the keys to the main gate on the table so that I can get out of there, so that we can understand that at that time the one who helped Bob was no one else, but he was Bob's dad. Hearing this, Eva is very happy and says that if my grandfather is alive, then I will definitely meet him, and when I will also disappear, then the three of us will live together, and we will also get grandfather released from there. With which this story ends here.